Hello guys, I'm an NA Challenger Akali One Trick, and I have over 3 million mastery points and a lot of games on Akali. Akali is my main champ, and I've been playing her since Season 9, and today I will be giving you my Akali guide for Season 13. Let's go over Akali's abilities. First, we have Akali's passive. Whenever you deal damage to an enemy champion with an ability, she creates a ring around the enemy target. When you exit the ring, you gain a burst of movement speed, and your next auto is empowered and has bonus range. Next, we have Akali's Q, which is her primary source of wave clear and is usually what you want to use to poke. You basically throw out kunais in a small cone, and the tip of it slows enemy champions. Now we have Akali's W. Akali's W is her Shroud, which replenishes your energy by 100 after using it. You also get move speed by being inside your Shroud. You can use this to outplay your enemies or to dodge abilities and auto attacks while being inside the Shroud. Akali's E. Akali's E is a skill shot with a very small hitbox. When you hit an enemy target, it marks them, revealing them even if they are invisible. And you can recast E to dash them and do big damage. This can also be followed up with an auto attack. So another thing you can do with Akali's E is that you can use it to wall hop. Here are some examples of the walls that Akali can actually wall hop over.
I'll find a way for us to survive. I have to.
Target, while the second dash does more damage based on movement health. You usually want to start most of your combos with Akali's R. So, Akali build. You usually want to start D-Shield into like most matchups. You can start D-Shield no matter what. Like if you're afraid of the enemy laner or you're just not sure if you're gonna win, D-Shield is always the way to go. You only ever buy D-Ring or Dark Seal if you're confident that you can win the lane. Like buying D-Ring or Dark Seal into like champs like Aurelia, Yone is fine as well. But like only buy it if you're sure you were gonna win lane. Okay. Early mid-game items. First, you want to rush Sword Boots on your first back if you can. If you don't have enough, you can buy like a Blasting One or an Amtone. That's fine as well. If you want to kill your enemy laner, you usually buy a Blasting One, Dark Seal, followed by Boots, or just like a Dark Seal and Amtone. If you can't kill your laner, you rush Boots, Dark Seal, and you want to roam as much as you can. Remember to buy Sweeper because you are an assassin and you want to stay as stealthy as you can. Mid-game items. You usually rush Protobelt, first item. Always Protobelt. Sometimes you can actually rush Shadow Flame, but Protobelt is usually better because of the extra dash it gives you. But yeah, if you're super ahead and your team is super ahead, you can go Protobelt, Shadow Flame, Rabadons because you don't really need defensive items. But if you're ahead and your team is behind, you can go Protobelt, Shadow Flame, Zhonya's. Zhonya's will help you stay alive. If you're feeling scared, you can always rush Zhonya's second item instead of Shadow Flame. If the enemy has hard MR, you go Protobelt, Shadow Flame, Void Staff, or Protobelt, Void Staff, Shadow Flame. Like, let's say they're like stacking MR right away, then Void Staff would be better over Shadow Flame. But let's say like you're ahead and you want like straight just Magic Pen, Shadow Flame would be better. But yeah, usually your final items will just be like Protobelt, Shadow Flame, Zhonya's, Rabadon's, Void Staff. Mostly. Now let's talk about early game. There are two types of lanes for Akali. There are range champions and melee champions. Akali's early game versus range champions is which we usually play for survivability until level 6, in which we can all end them once we get level 6. But if you see your enemy laner being a little too aggressive level 1, you can usually start E and punish them, as you win most trades versus ranged by hitting E. Now let's talk about melee matchups. You usually play a bit safe here and poke with your Q and try to get some CS as well. You weave in some autos when you're passive after hitting them with Q, but until you're level 3, you can't really do anything. You can't really threaten lethal range. There's nothing you can do. But after soaking enough XP and getting your abilities, make sure when you're going for trades, try to throw in as many Qs as you can and proc your passive at the same time. You can also use your Shroud effectively while trading. Another important thing is Akali's E is very crucial to land when going for early game kills. If you do end up missing Akali's E, it's okay, you can just run away. because Akali E does push you backwards. Early mid game is right around when you buy your boots. You're either your small boots or your tier 2 boots. You can either choose to start roaming here, or if you don't have tier 2 boots, you can stay in lane. You can farm more. You can farm the enemy champion. But if you don't have tier 2 boots, you can get easily punished for roaming because, season has shifted. Platings are easier to take. You lose more CS. Mid game teamfighting. You usually want to target the highest priority target or whoever is the squishiest. If you can't one-shot anyone, you can either split push or wait until the fight is almost over and clean up, as most assassins do. Akali actually excels pretty well in team fights, but be careful when engaging first, as you can get blown up really fast from all the CC and stuff. Late game is usually around like 30 to 35 minute mark. If the game hasn't ended then Akali starts to fall off. We are also putting 5 points into a non-combat spell, which is our W, and the way Akali works late game is usually you want to be patient and wait because enemy champs are afraid of you and can't really do much until you're off the map. Your job late game is to prioritize the enemy squishies and one-shot as many people as you can before dying. Now, I'm going to show you guys some neat combos that I learned about playing Akali. Let's start with some basic combos. Okay. First, you R1, auto Q, Shroud, R2, auto Q, and then E out. Q, E1, E2, auto Q, R1, Shroud, Q, and space him, Q again, and then R2, Protobot for the kill. Okay, this track is a little complex here. First, you want to R1, auto E1, Shroud for energy, then flash, auto EQ, R2 out. Here we Shroud to Dr. Charm, and then Q, and then auto E1, R1, and then E2 back, flash, auto Q, R2, killer. Okay, here we E1, Shroud, flash, R1, E2, auto Q, and then R2 for the kill. I'm dead. Okay, here we start with R1, Q, and then Shroud, auto E, E2, Q, R2 back. So this is like for skirmishes, basically. Alright, so R1, Q, auto Q, auto Q again, and then QR, E Fiora, auto Q Blitzcrank, E2 back to Fiora. Okay, so we start with R1 Q, Shroud, auto E1, R2, E2. First, we start with R1 Q, auto E1, flash, R2, auto E2, Q, and then she dies. First, we Q with Cloak, then we R1, auto, Q, E1, Shroud, E2, Q, R2 out. Standard one-shot combo. Q, R1, E1, E2, R2, auto Q. It's fine if you miss the E, because you still have enough damage anyway. Okay. First, we Protobot, R1, Q, auto E1, R2, auto Q, E2. That's not here, right? Right? Here, we're getting engaged on, so we have to walk out turret. So we E1, Q, auto E2, and then auto Q, Shroud, and then we wait in our Shroud, and then we Q, R1, and then we R2. Okay, here we R1, E1, E2 Vex, auto Q, and then Shroud, auto Q again, and then Q, R2, auto Q. We wait a little for our cooldowns, and then E1, Q, auto E2, and then auto Q again, and then flash E, and then auto Q. First we Q, and then we notice we're taking too much damage, so then we Shroud, and then we Q again, and then we E1, Q, R1, E2, auto, and he dies. Here, we start off with Q, and then Shroud, and then auto Q, and then auto E1, flash, auto E2, Q. Here, we E1, R1, auto Q, E2, auto Q, and then R2 when she flashes to catch her off guard. Here, we E1, R1, auto E2, Shroud, auto Q, auto R2, and then Q to finish him. Okay, here we hit her with Q, and then we shroud, and then we E1 our shroud, and then we auto Q her, and then we E2 back to our shroud. Here's a nice little E flash mechanic from Akali. You can E flash to buffer her E. This is another flash or a E flash mechanic. First, we proc her with Q, and then we auto shroud, and then we Q, and then we auto again, and then we E flash, and she dies. First, we proc her with Q, and then we see that she's gonna engage on us, so we E1, and then E2 auto Q, and then R1 auto attack Q shroud, and then R2 when she flashes to kill her. R1 E1 Q auto shroud Q R2 E2. Here we R1 Q auto Q shroud E a minion R2 auto Q E2 back to the minion. That's it for the video, guys. Thank you for watching. If like I missed anything, please let me know, or you can catch me on stream. You can ask me questions there. But yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.